Hop, bonjour, on live, bonne rediffusion à vos YouTube. Je mets les coins et je suis à vous. Ça a l'air tout ok. Alors, on va quand même continuer la partie. Alors, nous avons un meurtre sur les bras, une cité complètement bizarre. Alors, j'ai baissé un petit peu la qualité graphique. Alors, toi, on n'avait pas beaucoup parlé avec toi hier. Qu'est-ce que tu vas nous dire de...
All right. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked, and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place. At least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it.
Oui.
Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes sense.
Ouais, mais ça, c'est normal.
She used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good, too. Until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed and he's in constant pain.
Oui.
I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off, and I worry he'll end up losing his temper and lashing out. And you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace.
Aucune quête en plus à faire.
Thanks, I suppose. I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for treatment I'm giving them. Just Don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can
Ouais.
imagine.
T'es pas médecin, y a pas intérêt que je chope un rhume, quoi.
A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands. Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too, until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But
Tu me l'as déjà un peu dit tout à l'heure, ça.
The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed, and he's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off, and I worry he'll end up
En
losing
fait,
his
tu es obligé de
temper
me
and
retaper
lashing
le
out.
même
And you
dialogue.
know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace. Thanks, I suppose. Sure. What do you want to know? Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and so maybe it's best we don't discuss it. Hemlock, I believe.
La sécu, voilà. Poison classique.
I haven't seen her in months. She's not allowed to leave Malleolas's villa, and they are quite secretive. Gladly.
Je m'en vais.
Well, come back if you get sick or injured. Day or night, I'll do what I can. May Apollo keep you safe.
Arrête de bouger. Une statue en pierre imposante représentant Apollon, dieu romain et grec des maladies et de la guérison, entre autres. Une étagère en bois comportant diverses substances séchées et moulues. Le pilon l'avait déjà fait, les trucs là aussi. Et là, le coffre est verrouillé. Miche de pain ronde, conçue pour être découpée en quartiers, elle semble être à disposition de qui en veut. Recette romaine de pain, une simple recette pour faire du pain. Ingrédients: une généreuse pincée de levure, une pincée de sel, 2,5 tasses d'eau chaude, 500 g de farine. Versez l'eau dans un saladier, dissolvez la levure, mettez la farine dans un autre saladier et ajoutez-y progressivement l'eau, le sel. Pétrissez la pâte jusqu'à ce qu'elle ne soit ni trop collante ni trop farineuse. Couvrez la pâte, laissez-la reposer dans un endroit chaud près du four pendant 1 heure pour qu'elle lève. Ah mon Dieu, il va falloir que je tourne dans... non, c'est juste qu'il manque le reste. Ok. Un moulin en pierre, les grains semblent être versés au-dessus avant d'être broyés par les meules qui tournent à l'aide de poignées.
How'd you do? Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius. Terrible shame what happened to Yulia, but we just have to carry on, don't we? You mean, how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale.
Vas-y, je t'écoute.
All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome, just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, open to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing through a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
Bon, je suppose qu'il a choisi la charrette, hein.
Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put me hand
Je
in
m'en
the cart.
doutais,
I
ça.
guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin. I couldn't agree more. I mean, sure, I'd lost a few thousand denarii, but I've already made it back, and this place is a veritable treasure trove.
Ouais, bah je crois que t'as pas compris la leçon, mec. Hein.
Than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here. Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us? Not going to happen. Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii. Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it. Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navia on our hands. She claimed the statues were whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace and
Oui,
never heard from her
ça on est au courant du
I
coup.
digress. Do you want this Sylphium or not? Well, if you did that, you'd break the golden rule, and we'd share the same fate as the last lot who lived here. Is that what you want? Do you think I don't know a bluff when I see one? Nice try. Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget? Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii. That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years?
Ouais.
Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand.
Comment tu veux que je persuade? J'ai déjà tout fait.
Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navia on our hands. She claimed the statues were whispering to her. Nobody else could.
Je peux pas accepter, j'ai pas les 1000.
You never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this Sylphium or not? Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it. Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. She claimed it, but I digress. Well, if you did that... Don't you dare.
Le voleur a subtilisé ma bourse et la personne a fini par rien, n'a pas fini d'écrire.
Ah, back again, I see. Very well, another time.
Allez, on essaye, hein. Hop.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
La manette. Je crois que j'ai fait des conneries. On doit pas voler, hein. Chouf. Je suis pas sûre d'avoir fait la bonne chose. Suis le magistrat.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it.
Ouh. Une tyrolienne.
Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably.
Probablement safe. D'accord.
All right. See you around.
Merci Galerius. Oh, ça vibre. Elle marche, ta tyrolienne, Galerius. Du coup, je peux aller sauver l'autre là maintenant.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called silphium, but that Culus cumbulatus decius won't give it to me. What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you. Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing? And at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? A what? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. I think it's your accent, because it sounded like you said, time traveler. But whatever kind of traveler you are, that was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need.
En fait, j'ai déjà tout parlé, donc ça va.
Thanks again for saving Yulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Donc en gros, je peux foutre le bazar. Je me sauve, et après je me sauve et tout redevient normal.
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
Vas-y, quelle est ton histoire?
My life story. Oh, well, I grew up as part of a big family in Rome. Me and 3 older sisters. Our father found good husbands for my sisters, but I wasn't cut out for that kind of life. So he found me a job as a scribe for a prominent merchant. It was a good life for a while, until 7 months ago when the fires came. My colleagues and I worked desperately to try to protect our warehouse. We must have had 100 workers passing buckets of water, chanting prayers to Vulcan, but they fell on deaf ears. The fire was relentless and it claimed everything and everyone. Well, almost everyone. My employer told me to grab what valuables I could and flee for the Tiber with the crowds. I remember diving into the river and then the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the riverbank not far from here. Thank you, but to be honest, sometimes I think dying in that fire might have been a blessing, given what's happened since. I can tell you, but it's a long story.
Vas-y, j'ai tout mon temps.
I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock.
De la ciguë.
Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. Of course, I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the golden rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa, confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa. And I'll
On
be
va
right back
s'arranger,
where I
t'inquiète.
started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him.
Je vais peut-être aller l'aider,
I
hein.
doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time.
Je suis là
I
pour
don't
ça.
know who you are or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you. All right, but please don't take too long. All right. Thank you again for saving my life.
Bon,
May Apollo keep you safe. Feeling all right?
bon, toi t'as fini.
That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Julia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Qu'est-ce que t'as grogné, toi?
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Can't talk long, got to stay sharp, but family's from Seleucia on Tigris, Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions, the 6th, the one they call Ironclads. Same way as everyone else. Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious? The magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now. If we have to. Malleolus. Not sure I trust Sentius. Couldn't even protect his daughter in a city without sin. How's he going to protect us? No.
Ok, je m'en vais.
Salve.
Bon. Presque tu m'aurais fait peur, toi. Alors, choix à s'acheter après mon évasion. Villa sur l'Aventin à Rome. Chariot à 2 chevaux. Siège au Sénat. Chariot à 4 chevaux. Villa dans la baie de Naples. Chariot à 10 chevaux. 12 jolies esclaves pâles bien en chair. Une sculpture de Minerve, la déesse romaine de la stratégie.
Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius. Very well, another time.
Alors, un remède contre les rhumatismes, un patient qui en souffre. Oui. Je vais aller faire celle-là. Ça, je dois toujours... Il me regarde le temps derrière. Hein.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
Pêcheur. Bonjour.
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. I hear we have you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people, that kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek. I'm not sure. It could mean that the Romans, who first started building here, were just copying Greek architecture, which they do all the time. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell.
Vas-y, l'architecture.
Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it.
Ok.
You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite the collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists.
Bon. Ça change pas, hein.
Strange bunch. They insist there's only one God, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding.
Les chrétiens, quoi.
If these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the Golden Rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did.
Dommage pour toi, je suis une demoiselle. Normalement, si on s'est pas planté.
Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
Bon. Virgile, voulez-vous vraiment être responsable du péché qui nous anéantira tous? Mais ce n'est pas un péché ce qu'il fait. Non mais... L'enclume romaine, elle semble étrange sans bicorne, mais cela doit être le fruit d'une innovation récente. Pourquoi tu sautes? Un soufflet utilisé pour souffler de l'air dans le fourneau afin d'attiser le feu. Une pelle pour le feu. Romaine en bronze, elle sent la cendre. Je vois pas pourquoi il y a deux espèces de plateaux là en plus. C'est je ne sais point. Je crois qu'il a cassé le lit, ce monsieur. Berger, je sais qui vous êtes et ce que vous voulez. Abandonnez cette voie avant que vos péchés nous condamnent tous à d'atroces souffrances. On vole pas, on a dit. On a vu tout à l'heure ce que ça donnait de voler. Hein.
A fellow traveler from a faraway land.
Un de ces quatre, je vais me planter de boutons.
This part of my shop is off limits, even for you, my sartorial friend.
Les teintures pour vêtements, elles semblent avoir été extraites à partir de plantes et d'insectes.
Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail? Then you are an explorer, like me. Wonderful. You must have many stories to share. I cannot wait to hear them. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps? My story?
Alors, ton histoire à toi.
I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule, and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all? I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our head. Don't you agree? Well, if that doesn't persuade you, think of it this way. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you.
Bon,
if
tu
only
te
I
souviens
could
pas de
remember it
qu'est-ce que
clearly
t'as
myself.
foutu du coup.
I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and droning in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once, but none of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa. Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight.
Il a flotté grâce à sa graisse, d'accord. Je m'y attendais pas à celle-là.
I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am.
Okay.
Anything you like. This is troubling, is it not? I'm afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous though. Virgil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night. Perhaps you should ask her about it.
Fabia, ok.
That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way. Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, toi?
Feeling all right? That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Yulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Je me suis plantée, c'est de tel, non? Elle est toujours en train de chialer. C'est bon, ça suffit, chiale plus.
It's you again. Is everything all right?
Je me suis... Mais...
Thank you again for saving my life.
Je me suis plantée... C'est qui? Attends. C'est ça. C'est Fabia. Fabia, j'ai pas encore vu celle-là. Alors lui, il va falloir que j'ai tout là-haut. La prêtresse. Qu'est-ce qu'elle a, ta prêtresse? Ouh, le cuit-cuit, tu fais mal aux oreilles. Ah, j'ai du pognon quand même à chercher. Perspective de l'archéologue. Un bol en céramique rempli d'urine que les habitants de la Rome antique utilisaient en raison de sa teneur ammoniaque. En ammoniac, oui. Pour laver et blanchir leurs vêtements. Du garum, une sauce au poisson fermenté utilisée comme condiment. Elle a une légère odeur salée. Le psychopompe nous a tous bernés. La seule issue est 3 petits points. L'interprétateur interrompu par une fin tragique. Latrine publique collective. Ces trous doivent être conçus pour utiliser... Ah! Avec le bâton éponge. Un petit bâton au bout duquel une éponge est attachée. Cela ce devait être ce que l'utilisation des roues. Attends, ce devait être ce qu'utilisaient les Romains à la place du papier toilette. Son usage était collectif. Il vaut mieux le remettre à sa place. C'est clair qu'on va le remettre à sa place. Ah, par contre, là, la statue, elle a pas pu se sauver, hein. Toujours se souvenir qu'elle nous observe. Elle peut, monsieur. Celui-là... Il est coincé pour un moment. Une fontaine remplie d'eau provenant de l'aqueduc située derrière elle. Si les actes permettent à l'eau d'entrer dans la cité, il pourrait également être un moyen d'en sortir. Un seau en bois, on dirait que son propriétaire a laissé tomber en allant chercher de l'eau. Il n'a jamais pu le ramasser. Tragique. Je vais m'enfermer, n'essayez pas de me suivre. Il n'en résultera rien de bon. Il faut quand même que j'aille sauver l'autre. Hein. Donc celle-là c'est pour descendre, je suppose. En tout cas, j'ai trouvé du pognon. Des flèches aussi. Une petite grotte là. Elle est cachée. On va aller voir. Trouver un moyen créatif d'entrer dans la citerne. Hop, la porte elle est verrouillée. Donc en gros, j'ai un petit peu avancé en trouvant la porte. Ok.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the golden rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far? Ah, another stoic, perhaps. We all need something to help us through times like these. We've all been where you are now. I remember when I first arrived. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? Is there a way out?
Essaye de m'arnaquer toi
What is the
aussi.
golden rule, and who or what is responsible for it? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think anybody does. But I'm happy to share with you what I've learned. All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please, please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him. Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
Ouais. Eh ben on va voir hein.
Let me guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a crime against the Empire. I screwed up my life. That's what's wrong. I borrowed money, and when I couldn't pay it back, I wound up in debt bondage. I'll be stuck slaving away for that culus cumulatis malleolus for the rest of my life. I'm out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love, I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Lord. That poor lamb. I'll have to let everyone know what's happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
Elle m'a dit de sauter.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Magistrate, yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted and now, and now I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. And now I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you
Mais pourquoi moi j'ai mouru et je retrouve pas l'autre en fait?
and yes, anyway, no more shall
Julia. De Julia, c'est ravisseur. Maëlys et Claudia. Soyez maudits. Le temps que vous lisiez ceci, je serai déjà mort, car je préfère mourir plutôt que de vous servir. Un jour de plus, puissent les dévotures perdurer vos foi dans le tartare pour l'éternité. Bouteille vide, cela ressemble à une bouteille de ciguë, un poison mortel qui sent moisi comme l'urine et la souris. Enfin, je sais plus ce que j'ai lu. Belle de fruits, on a déjà fait des carottes violettes, oui, on l'a déjà lu. Ça aussi, on l'a déjà lu. Belle de fruits. Le pot d'encre, on a déjà lu le pot d'encre, il me semble aussi. Par contre, tu m'excuseras, mais je vais visiter ta maison, on dirait que t'es occupé à discourir tout seul dans ton coin. Alors, Ulpius, à mon amour perdu, que Dieu veille sur vous. Sachez que j'ai tenu le plus longtemps possible, mais sans vous, ma vie n'a pas de sens. J'espère que nous nous retrouverons à Gan Eden. Un vase grec peint, il représente une sorte de bataille. Une sculpture grecque à la tête d'un jeune homme. Donc en gros là pour l'instant c'est écrit pareil.
Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Magistrate. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored to be elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. And now,
Une sculpture de Minerve, la déesse romaine de la stratégie. On en profite, hein, il fait son blabla, nous on fouille. L'Arère, petit sanctuaire domestique où les habitants de la Rome antique priaient quotidiennement pour être protégés. Sculpture d'Arès, le dieu de la guerre grecque, connu sous le nom de Mars par les Romains. Bah ouais, mais du coup, comment tu veux... On peut pas lui parler si c'est verrouillé. Oula, 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 oula. C'est toujours le même. Ah, il faudrait peut-être faire la pause. On va se mettre là, on sait jamais. Voilà. Merci de nous avoir regardé YouTube. La suite au prochain épisode. Prenez soin de vous. À bientôt. On va peut-être découvrir des choses la prochaine fois.